Hello, welcome to our course English for Personal and Professional Development. I'm Dr. Neha Purohit. Today, we are going to talk about a very important aspect of language, that is grammar. A lot of people are scared of grammar, but whenever we talk about language, we need to talk about grammar also because grammar gives technicalities to language. So let's start with the very first topic, parts of speech. So what are the learning objectives today? Today, in this video, we are going to look at what is speech. So we are going to understand the nuances of speech. We are going to get an introduction to the 8 parts of speech. We are also going to discuss the 9th part of speech. Yes, we are going to discuss about this new addition according to contemporary grammar. Then we are going to look at the open and closed parts of speech and identifying the parts of speech in a sentence. See, it is very important to discuss the application part of grammar. आप चाहे कोई सी भी भाषा सीखिए, अगर आप उस भाषा के एप्लीकेशन पार्ट को नहीं समझ पा रहे तो एवरीथिंग बिकम्स वेरी थियोरेटिकल. हर चीज़ किताबों में बंद रह जाएगी, आप उसे अपनी डे टू डे लाइफ में इनकॉर्पोरेट नहीं कर पाएंगे. So let's start with our parts of speech. Now here is an example, which is an example of speech. And it goes, Mahesh told the naughty cat that it should behave properly with neighbors. And the cat said, oh no. So this is a kind of example that we speak every day. Well, you see that the words that have been colored are the parts of speech. यहाँ पे जो भी वर्ड्स लिखे हुए हैं, हर वर्ड का एक ना एक फंक्शन है और आज के इस वीडियो में हम उन्हीं फंक्शंस को डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. So what are the parts of speech? Categorically, parts of speech are categories which are used for classifying the different words based on their natures and functions. जैसा हमने डिस्कस किया कि ग्रामर में हर चीज़ का एक फंक्शन है, लैंग्वेज में हर वर्ड का एक फंक्शन है, हर चीज़ की एक टेक्निकलिटी है. पार्ट्स ऑफ स्पीच हमें इसी फंक्शन के बारे में बताते हैं. सो पार्ट्स ऑफ स्पीच बेसिकली they can be nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, and so on. So we are going to discuss about all these today. Well, there is a thing to note down. In contemporary grammar, the word parts of speech has been replaced with word class. So we do not call them parts of speech nowadays, we call them word classes. So what are these parts of speech? मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ. Forget about the traditional definitions or the contemporary nomenclature. Suppose मान के चलिए जिस तरह से हमारे परिवार में सदस्य होते हैं, उसी तरह से ये पार्ट्स ऑफ स्पीच भी एक ऐसी फैमिली के बारे में हम आज बात कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे अलग अलग मेंबर्स हैं. So there are different members and these members have different relationships with each other. We have the noun. Noun is a name, but noun is also suppose the head of this family. What happens with the head of a family? हम जब भी head of the family की बात करते हैं तो हम उस head of the family को उस family का मुखिया मानते हैं. उनके बिना कोई पत्ता भी नहीं हिलता. उसी तरह से noun is also suppose the head of this family. We have the pronoun. What happens when the head of the family is absent? When the head of the family is absent, the eldest son or the most responsible person of the family takes the place. Pronoun यही काम करता है. Pronoun का काम है to replace this head of the family called noun. Then we have some relatives जिनका काम होता है किसी के बारे में बातचीत करते रहना. कोई अच्छा है, कोई बुरा है, उनकी यही आदत होती है, वो हमेशा दूसरों के बारे में बात करते हैं. This kind of a relationship comes through adjectives. Adjectives perform the role of describing these nouns or pronouns. ये nouns और pronouns अच्छे हैं, बुरे हैं, इनकी qualities प्लस साइड में है या नेगेटिव साइड में है, दे ऑलवेज डिस्कस अबाउट दीज थिंग्स. देन वी कम टू वर्ब्स. हमारी फैमिली में भी कुछ एक ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ करते रहते हैं. दे आर ऑलवेज एक्शन ओरिएंटेड. सो वर्ब्स परफॉर्म द सेम फंक्शन. वर्ब्स describe the action performed by noun or pronoun. We then have adverbs. Adverbs have the function of modifying the verbs, adjectives or another adverbs. इसका मतलब अगर किसी ने कुछ काम किया तो वो काम कैसे किया, ये क्वालिटी आपको पता लगेगी through adverbs. Then we have conjunctions. Conjunctions have this habit of connecting. So in our family, we have certain family members who always believe in unity. Imagine conjunctions उसी तरह के family members who unite the people. They can unite sentences, they can unite phrases, they can unite two words or so on. We then have prepositions. Prepositions, as you can see, you already have a word position. So the preposition will tell us the position of the connection in terms of positions. This connection can come in the form of time, this connection can come in the form of place, and so on and so forth. Prepositions precedes a noun and they tell us about the position. Then we have interjections. As in the example, the cat said, "Oh no." So whenever something comes out of your mind or mouth suddenly, it is an interjection. So interjection are sudden outbursts of your feeling. Now let's come to the ninth part of speech. In traditional grammar, we considered determiners as outside these parts of speech. That is why the traditional grammar did not count determiners as a part of speech. Because determiners generally perform the function of adjectives also. So पहले के टाइम में ये माना जाता था because determiners perform the function of adjectives more or less, they can be calculated as a part of adjectives, and that is why they did not have a separate entity. But in contemporary grammar, these determiners have been given a special credit, and they are called the 9 parts of speech. These determiners can come in the form of articles. They can come in the form of articles as a, an or the. They can also come in the form of words like these, that, those, enough, much, few, which and what, and so on and so forth. Now एक चीज आपको ध्यान रखनी पड़ेगी that in these 8 or 9 parts of speech, there are some word classes which are closed classes. That means उनका function हमेशा fixed रहता है. They do not have a variation in the form. Whereas on the other hand, there are certain categories as open. और ये जो open category होती है, इनके functions बदलते रहते हैं. They have a more flexible approach. For example, nouns. Well, nouns से आप adjectives बना सकते हैं, adjectives से nouns बना सकते हैं, nouns को भी हम adjectives की तरह use कर सकते हैं. So they have a very flexible approach. If we talk about adjectives, adjectives में degree होती है. So you may say he ran fast or he is a fast bowler. But इस fast को हम faster में भी convert कर सकते हैं. हम इस fast को एक अलग function की तरह use कर सकते हैं. Adjectives को हम, adverbs को हम अलग तरह से use कर सकते हैं. So there is a very flexible kind of approach when we talk about the open parts of speech. On the other hand, when we come to closed parts of speech, their form always remains the same. So for example, if we are using a pronoun called he, so he will have a fixed function. It cannot be used in a very different form having the same kind of function. Conjunctions and हमेशा and ही रहेगा, but हमेशा but ही रहेगा. They have a fixed function. That is why determiners, prepositions and interjections likewise they have been placed in the format of closed parts of speech. So it is important that we remember that these word classes or parts of speech, they can have open functions or they can have closed functions. Now coming to the last part of our video, we need to understand how these parts of speech function. मैंने आपको जैसे बताया कि एक word अलग अलग functions perform करता है. In a sentence, a particular word may have different functions. Now look at the examples here. The point here is I'm using the same word work, but this work appears in different functions. In the very first sentence, which is Brijesh showed up for work 2 hours late. What does it do here? यहाँ पे the work is the thing Brijesh shows up. Then we have he will have to work until. यहाँ पे जो work है ये noun की तरह use नहीं हो रहा. यहाँ पे जो work है this is using as a verb. In the previous sentence, work is a noun. In this particular sentence, work is a verb. And his work permit expires next month. So in this particular case, permit is your noun and work is appearing as something which talks about this permit. कौन सा permit? Work permit. So here the same word may express the function of an adjective. So friends, this is how language works. Language is a very volatile process and it is fun to understand the various functions of language. So before I leave, I just want to tell you that the more you dive into language, the better it becomes. अगर आपको किसी भाषा पे पकड़ बनानी है तो आपका सबसे पहला लेसन है how do these word classes or parts of speech function. एक पर्टिकुलर सेंटेंस में एक वर्ड कौन सा फंक्शन परफॉर्म कर रहा है ये हमारे लिए जानना जरूरी है. And believe me, in further videos we are going to look at on all these things very carefully. So thank you so much and happy learning.